Daniel Defense has brought back an extinct firearm and they've made it better. How much better? Well, today we're going to find out. The Daniel Defense H9. Today on Grand Thumb, an extinct handgun brought back from the brink. If I could bring back the dinosaurs, I would. And Daniel Defense has, in essence, brought back the dinosaurs.
Life, finds a way.
But before we get into that, we of course have to thank our sponsors. The biggest sponsor of the channel being Primary Arms. If you're looking to buy great optics at a great price, well, we can't recommend them enough. In fact, they have the HTX-1, our favorite pistol optic right now. Hey, John, bring over the HTX-1. John's got it on his Glock. He actually stole it from me. Not approved, but done. But it happened. John also replaced the best barrel steel in the world with a inferior barrel steel, but that's okay. That's okay also. If you are looking to be more American, well, we cannot recommend becoming more American than by buying a lever action rifle. And of course, if you want to get better at shooting, we recommend dry fire. Go check out Mantis, turns a gun into a dry fire machine. Finally, all ammunition is provided for by AAC. A big thank you to them. With all that being said, talk is cheap and ammunition is what?
It's sponsored by AAC.
Yeah, that's true. Now, right here, we have the Daniel Defense H9. You might have known about the Hudson H9, which went under, and there were some issues with that gun. So the question I think that we all have is, how does the Daniel Defense H9 differ in comparison? What upgrades were made? What changes were made? And more importantly, how is it going to run during an accelerated wear test that we're going to be doing for the next few days? Well, to answer some of these questions, we do have Daniel Defense out here with a very nice t-shirt. Yeah, man. Did they require you to wear that?
Yeah.
So, do you want to introduce yourself so they understand, your credentials and all that kind of stuff?
Sure. So I'm Francisco. I'm with Design Engineering over there in Daniel Defense. And in particular, I work with the pistol team.
Former Ranger as well, right?
Correct.
175?
Yep.
Is that the best regiment?
Yeah, absolutely.
John?
Stop.
So tell us about this. Obviously, you guys bought the rights to the Hudson H9, which you guys had done, if I'm not mistaken, a significant number of changes to the Daniel H9. Do you want to tell us why you did some of those changes, what they are, what people can expect?
Absolutely. So from the Hudson, when we first actually got the rights from it and whatnot, there was a lot that we had to go into. There's a lot of different pieces that either didn't make sense or weren't reliable, right? And so from the ground up, we had to change this gun completely. With our initial iteration, we had a polygonal rifling barrel, and then we only had a single recoil spring. And then also here, our back strap was a little bit wider. And then also the trigger needed some work as well. It was a little on the heavy side. So with this iteration, what we've done is that the back strap is actually more in contour with the actual gun itself. And so it won't bite you, right? The other one, you had that possibility of it getting into the web of your hand. Furthermore, the trigger initially was around 7.5 pounds. Now it's closer to 5.5, plus or minus a half pound. If it's anywhere north of 6 pounds, please send it in to us. We'll get you taken care of. And in the barrel, we did have the issue with some rounds not actually working as well with our barrel, in the sense that we had keyholing issues, right? So we changed the barrel rifling. Now we have traditional rifling. All of that should be going away. Again, if there's any issues with this gun, please send it back. We got you covered 100%.
I can appreciate when a company just straight out is like, hey, there's some issues, we've solved them. I think that's what it's all about. There's nothing that's going to be perfect right outside the gate. Rolling changes in generation are something that you're going to see with any firearm. The M16 was far from perfect when it was first released. So I appreciate you guys just being upfront with that stuff. I think that's the way to do it. Also, it's cool having former action guys or shooters actually designing guns. And I think that's kind of the way to do it. That kind of works. Now, if I'm not mistaken, barrel is Cold Hammer Forge, correct?
Correct.
Wonderful, wonderful. And do you want to explain what makes the H9 so unique? I think this is kind of an interesting part, because you look at the gun and you say to yourself, it looks different And if you're a shooter, you probably can tell why, but do you want to explain that?
Sure. So in comparison to other firearms of this size, you're actually getting a lot, right? It's only 1 inch thick at its widest, so this is perfect for concealed carry. Furthermore, there's other things that we can do to adapt this gun to you, right? So the grips, they're modular. They come off just like a 1911, right? VZ grips is coming out with some really nice textures on here. The backstrap, we're working on that. This gun in and of itself, you're getting a lot for your money.
No, I tend to agree. What's the MSRP on these currently?
Right now, I believe they're $1,300.
Nice. But if you go to your factory and you just take one, then they're free.
Yes. Another big change is that we had a single guide rod in the first iteration, and now with this one we have actually a dual guide rod. And so the felt recoil is definitely way different. It feels better to shoot in the hand, very controllable, and you get you back on target really quickly.
Yeah, you see a lot of different pistol manufacturers actually moving over to the dual recoil spring, such as Glock, for example, being the most famous one. And I do agree, the weapon does feel quite good to shoot. Well, clearly a lot of changes made, a lot of small parts that were gotten rid of, a lot of, I would say, not just shootability wise in terms of grip, but I would say a lot of working parts were also changed that, you know, it is very significant in terms of the working and internals of the weapon. But I think you're going to see that as we go through this pistol, and it just absolutely falls apart. I'm just
Yeah, making
like,
me all
that's not
nervous
funny.
over here.
That's
I'm
not
like,
funny
hey.
at all. The H9 is very interesting. If you notice, the slide is very low to your hand. So when I'm gripping this guy right here, you can see that the slide is just barely above my hand. This is something called the bore axis. How high is the bore of that weapon above the height of my hand? Generally what we've thought is that the lower we can get that into my hand, the less felt recoil I'm going to have, in addition to other recoil mitigating procedures and techniques that you can do on a firearm, in addition to grip and other things like that. Now, in addition to that, the recoil spring itself has been dropped lower so that it's in line with your hand. This should help with felt recoil as well. So all these things combined should make this a fairly light recoiling weapon. From what I've seen so far, it does feel pretty good. It's not a huge difference in terms of, like, I shoot this and I'm like, oh my God, it doesn't recoil at all. But as far as having to grip the gun at just as hard as I would with a gun with a higher bore axis, it definitely does mitigate some of that recoil. So let's get into it. During the thousands of rounds that we're going to be firing through the Daniel Defense H9, we need to do a couple tests. One of the first tests that we're going to be doing is going to be recoil testing. Obviously, the Daniel Defense H9, with its lowered recoil spring, the weight of the weapon, as well as how low the bore axis is, should be fairly good recoil. So we have a couple different firearms that we're going to be comparing it to. Let's go over those. The first one we'll compare it with is a very popular European firearm, being the CZ75 P01. Although the slide is recessed into the frame like you see right here, it doesn't quite have that low bore axis that you see with the Hudson, due to the fact that the tang of the weapon, due to it being hammer fired, is so low. Nonetheless, it is a historical firearm that has been used for a long time and has similar features. Next up, we have the Sire L9A1. You might not be familiar with this handgun. This is very similar in many ways, with both a lower bore axis, a good trigger, as well as a lowered recoil spring. So this one is probably the closest to the Hudson, which I think is going to make for the most interesting test. Finally, we have the tried and true Glock. This is a Glock 47 Gen 5 with the HTX optic. So we're going to be testing these out, both me and John, and we're going to see how the recoil feels between all of them. At this point, we have about 500 rounds on the Daniel H9, and we'll be testing recoil here. So I'll be firing about 3 rounds, and then John will fire 3 rounds, and we'll directly compare these. So we'll start with this guy right here. It does feel really, really good, though. The Daniel H9 is a very light recoil, surprisingly. What I think is interesting is, like, it feels good. The return on the dot feels really good. So as the slide recoils, kind of where your hand settles, this is grip and hand placement, but at the same time, you know, firearms kind of a natural tendency to be different from one another in how they settle. And for me, the H9 just, it really settles quite well. Like, it feels really freaking good. Next up, John. John, tell us what you think.
So far, I like the recoil impulse better than, I mean, most of the guns we got here. But
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, a way that I could describe it is kind of like if a Glock 17 is a DI AR, it's like smooth recoil, whatever, versus MCX. It's I wouldn't say it's very stout, but it's very quick. Very quick recoil impulse. It's really not
The
fast.
most autistic way you could have described it, but it works great. Okay, now go directly to the L9A2.
It's a little bit more jumpy.
Okay, let me.
Not bad though.
Let me see here. It is a little bit more jumpy, surprisingly. It is a lighter handgun, but it's a little bit larger in terms of both the barrel length and the size. Yeah, that does feel a little bit more jumpy. It's still a very good recoil impulse on the sire. This is a sleeper gun right here.
I think you'll like it better than the CZ though.
Dude, I love the CZ. The CZ is also done up at Cation Gun Works, so it's cheating. Yeah, you're
A little bit more pop too.
yeah, a little bit more. I mean, the PC-01 is a great gun. Here you go. You have to shoot it before you shoot your Glock.
Yeah, true.
Okay, next up, the venerable Glock. Yeah, I would put it CZ P01 at the bottom. Next up, I put Glock on recoil, then the L9A2, and then at the top, as far as being the least amount of recoil, H9.
Yeah.
Let me know what you think.
Definitely close second and thirds though.
No. The difference between the L9A2 and the Glock, very, very close.
Yeah, I mean, I could rip this one just fine, but I think that's also because I've shot like I don't know how many rounds on this.
That's fair.
But shooting it for the first time, very well shooting.
Very, very pleasurable to shoot.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's keep burning it down. We're going to do 2 back-to-back strings of 13 mags, and I guess we're just going to speed this up now. Do you want to have those mags staged for me?
This is G9.
Yeah.
See how it runs? Yeah, you want this?
Yeah, sure.
It's hot. It's super hot.
Okay, we're going to let it cool off for a second. We'll do another, another 13 mags. Going good so far. Wear pattern's looking nice. Nice little smile up there on the top. Just like the Glock smile, right? Oh, fuck. I touched the slide. That's hot.
It gets hot after almost 200 rounds. It's terrible.
So one thing that we should also talk about is compatibility with different types of ammunition. So we fired G9, which is an external hollow point. We fired hollow points. Everything's been fine so far. We'll show you a mag with that in a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and finish off this first 500 right here. You know, I have such a bad habit of riding high on the slide where I depress the slide release. 75 yards. Let's see how we do. So right there, keep riding my hand too high. So that's me. I need to change my grip just a little bit just because that thing's so low into my hand. Learning curve.
First round.
$150 yards, maybe a little bit more. It's pretty cool, right?
How high above you aim it?
I'm aiming dead on, to be honest. It's not too bad. I think that's like 11 out of like 15 or something like that.
I'm gonna end on a win.
Yeah, the gun seems to be chugging down a teeny bit. Here you go, John. where we're getting a few malfunctions here or there. Honestly, not too unexpected, but we'll see how it kind of continues the next 2K after this. What would you give me if I can gangster shot it right now?
The most crisp high five ever.
What? That's it?
Yeah. I don't have much, man. I'm poor.
I'll take your Ranger Beret.
Dink. I heard it.
Thank you, John. Now, this video is brought to you by TacPack. Do you have friends where you're not really sure what to get them, or you know what? You just want to get surprised every single month. Well, you know what? TacPack is a monthly subscription box with different levels, and it has all of your favorite brands from 511 to Reptilia, Mantis, and many, many more. TacPack has two main tiers. You have standard at $59.95, which value is about $90 to $120, and then of course you have TacPack Plus, costs about $139. Value is anywhere from $240 to $300. Let's talk about what's in there. So right here we have our representative box of what you could possibly get. So the things you get, things like rangefinders, the Mantis laser training system, which of course we love, Ear Pro or grips from Reptilia, and many other things. The point is, they have a good collection of products that can be sending you, and even better, because everybody's buying it, essentially, you guys can get a lot more value for your money. So go and check out TacPack, and if you use the code HIGHSPEED, you get an extra $60 worth of gear. Definitely worth it. And if you're a new subscriber, use code GRAND, you get a free $60 gift on top of what you're already spending. That is awesome. Go and check them out. All the best brands and a cool box for whatever you may need. Go check out TacPack. Now, let's get back to the Daniel Defense H9. Okay, we are now at 900 rounds. This guy's hot. This guy's super hot. So we're gonna let her cool down all the way. We're gonna give her a little bit of lube on the rails. And if we're not getting any type of malfunction to the next about 200, I would say that we're just burning off all the lube on this guy. So let's see where it stands. Every gun's gonna need maintenance. We'll see how it does. We cleaned off the rails and we hit it with CLP. So we're gonna continue the test right here. We're at 900 and we're gonna be going over 1,000, about 1,150 for about this last. So I'll try to, punch out a nice little clean hole right here. Not too bad. As far as the trigger feels, the trigger is freaking wonderful, man. Great trigger. All right, let's go ahead and continue it. Come on.
There we go. Got it.
Go, last mag, make it count. Oh, got it. Go, last mag, make it count. Like,
How many last matches?
last mag, make it count.
Keep finding them in the box.
Oh, man. My right forearm's going to be huge, and it's because of this. No other reason.
Okay, next up, we're going to be doing a test of different types of concealed carry ammunition that you might typically use. So right here, we have a more non-traditional. We have an external hollow point from G9. This is one of our favorites. Then we have the MHP from Norma, a solid performer. And finally, the Spirit Gold Dot, tried true. So we'll start with the G9, and we'll make sure all this ammunition functions no problem. So G9 first. No problem. Next up, Norma MHPs. No problem. Finally, Spear Gold Dot. Okay. No issues whatsoever to feed. Obviously, this gun was chugging down a little bit around the 700 round mark. So the grease that was in there was kind of gumming up. We didn't do any cleaning before we came out here and shot this. We just took it sight unseen. So we cleaned off that kind of thicker grease, put on some CLP that we use, and that worked fine. And it seems to be running really good. We're going to give this a cleaning. And then the rounds after this will not be, the gun will see no cleaning. And we'll see how the wear patterns look and how the gun does. So for me, a day. For you, a mere moment. Till tomorrow. Day 2 with the Daniel H9. Daniel's defense has now gone home, and it is just us, just up to our wits. So we did encounter some failures to feed previously, both me and John did. It wasn't super common. However, we have now done a deep clean of the gun at 1,200 rounds. We're going to be doing the last 1,800 without any type of cleaning, maybe a little bit of lube as it needs us. This is going to give us an indication of what maintenance cycles this particular weapon needs, as well, in my mind, should eliminate any need for or any chance of a failure to feed at this point. The gun is broken in. The gun is cleaned of any type of lube, shavings, etc., that could possibly get in the way. So at this point, it should be smooth operation for about 1,000 rounds before it starts gumming down, based on what I've seen with this so far. This isn't anything that's wild. Some weapons do require maintenance a little bit more, depending on how they're designed, how kind of race gunnish they are. So that is no issue. Let's go into it. Let's figure out where it stands, and let's continue shooting. It looks good. Feeling good. All right, let's get it going. So far, so good. Good times. I don't see what the problem is. I hit the target. I didn't kill any small children.
Looks like all alphas, 198.
Cool.
Stand by. First round, dude.
First round. You ready for this, John? It's going to be DCCD. I'm just shooting the little letters. Oh, there we go. You try it. It's actually pretty tough.
Last mag.
Last mag, make it count. That is hot. We are now halfway through. We are at 1,500 rounds, and pretty much all the ammunition we're firing today is Blazer specific. Obviously, we have fired more than that. We have a lot of 124, NATO ammunition as well. But yeah, feels pretty good. We'll take a quick look at the gun right here. If you guys want to come up and take a look. What we're seeing is really typical wear that you see on most tilt action designs. So we just have that nice little smile coming across on that wear pattern. And if we were to take this down, let's see here. Yeah, you don't really see much wear at all on the inside. A little bit right here where it's rubbing onto the rails right there, as you can see. Beyond that, on the striker mechanism right here, just a little bit, but that's wearing in very nicely. There's no type of folding of the metal, nothing crazy. If I'm taking a look at the barrel, which is extremely hot, by the way, the only wear that kind of looked weird to me at the beginning was not right here, right? You're always going to have a spot that's going to get shiny as a weapon unlocks. But right here, it looked a little uneven to me. Never mind, as soon as I wipe that carbon, it's nice and evened out at this point. Yeah, wear is looking really good on this. I don't see anything that looks objectionable to me, so we'll keep going. It's not going to see any lube for about another, hopefully about another 1,000 or so. And we can get that good maintenance cycle and how often we need to clean this guy. Which I would guess would be at about 1,000 rounds. We'll start to see kind of the need to really kind of keep it going. Another kind of weird thing about this is this mechanism needs to be in the up position when you are putting the gun back together. Otherwise it won't. I kind of learned that the hard way. Gun's always going to have quirks. Anyhow, let's continue.
Sean, what are you doing right now?
Well, we're cooling off our DDH9 right now.
I feel like Timothy McVeigh just...
What do you approve or not? Because this is a good use of technology right now.
We are now at 2,000, well, actually about 2,100 rounds. We have not relubed it. We merely cooled it off using the drone, and we're going to continue. So I'm hoping that we don't have any malfunctions, because it'd be nice if it just worked, because it does feel really good in the hand. Recoil is excellent. Trigger is excellent. John, you've been loving it so far?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Feels really good. So no malfunctions since that first break-in period. Let's see how it does. Then you can see it right here, but just like on a Glock, when you get that nice high grip, I'm taking skin off. That's not a problem with the gun. That's just modern high techniques. You're just gonna take a little bit of skin off. That's pretty normal. I get that all the time with my Glock 17. Okay, 2,300 rounds since the 1K. We haven't had a single malfunction, so not too many more to go. 700? Yeah. That was quick math on my part.
I'll roll that. You were from the Air Force, so.
Now, Daniel Defense does not recommend using a drone to cool off your Daniel Defense H9. However, this is a Grantham approved method. This is also a Ukraine approved method. Right, John?
Yep, definitely.
All right, so it's been grilling for a hot minute. I'm gonna go flip them dogs right now. So some of you might be wondering, magazine pouch compatibility. These are S-Tech Kiwis, great mag pouches. Glock mag, decently snug in there. This thing, it's a little bit slimmer, but the main thing, it's polished. It's not, just plastic. It's still snug in there. I can't see these, flying out whenever you take off running.
Another note is, if you're worried about ride height in your S-Tacs, you can actually move these up, trim them down, do whatever you need to make sure if you need more of that mag sticking out, especially because it's kind of a smaller mag. It still works.
Yeah, fantastic magazines.
Okay, we are now at just 5 mags short of 3,000 rounds, which is our goal. Gun is hot and baked, but let's go ahead and finish it off. It's 3,000 rounds. We have 0 malfunctions, and I'm pleased with that result. Looks like everything kind of solved itself after about 2,000 rounds. So there was a lot of shooting. We're nice and carbon set it up, but we're feeling pretty good. So let's talk about it. First off, I do want to say that the recoil on the H9 feels really good. It's less than a Glock, which is impressive in my mind, because we were comparing it against a Glock 17 and a Glock 47, which are full size, although the 47 does have a slightly shorter recoil spring. Despite that, the H9 has really good recoil impulse. The dot tends to return really well. My kind of big complaint when it comes to optic mounting on this is that the iron sights don't co-witness with the plates that you get from it. And nowadays we have offerings that do allow co-witness with dots. If we can take a look at the HTX, or whether it be the Aimpoint Koa from Glock, you do now have optics that can sit low enough in these RMR footprints or MOS footprints that allow them to co-witness with factory irons. So it's something that I would like to see. I understand that's kind of an emerging technology, but that's my kind of one complaint when it comes to the optic mounting system. Although it is very good, it is very sturdy. The iron sights that you have are serrated at the back to help kill glare. Then we have a fiber optic front. That is a great setup. I don't really have any complaints when it comes to the irons, other than the aforementioned complaint as far as co-witness through your optic. The barrel, in typical Daniel Defense fashion, is cold hammer forged. It has performed exceptionally well. We've been able to hold accuracy well out to 3,000 rounds, and I doubt we'll ever really see a point at which we start seeing degradation of accuracy through the pistol barrel due to the low forces being exerted upon the barrel. It is 9mm, LOL. From there, we do have a Picatinny rail on the bottom. We did have a TLR7 mounted on there. However, the screw came loose during our 3,000 rounds, so now I got to get a replacement screw because it's somewhere out here, and it's going to be a little bit of a bitch to find that one. I love the takedown when it comes to the Daniel H9. We'll do that in just a moment, though, because I do want to show you the wear patterns that we're seeing. From there, I think the cool thing to talk about is the trigger system. So it's much like a Glock. So if we take a look at John's Glock right here, you can see that your typical Glock, this is an aftermarket Glock trigger, but your typical Glock trigger has this little thing right here. This is called a safe action system. The trigger cannot be depressed until this whole thing is depressed with it, at which point the trigger can be depressed. The Daniel H9 is the same exact way. So we have that secondary trigger right there as a safety mechanism, and from there we have about a millimeter play, and then we have a very clean let off. And even better, we haven't had any type of degradation of the trigger. So what I mean by that is the trigger has not gotten worse, has not really changed at all. It perhaps gotten just a little bit smoother, and that's just due to the internals working themselves in. Otherwise, the trigger does feel very good. They say it goes between 5.5 to 4.5 pounds. I would say on ours, it's just under 5. It feels really good. We have like that millimeter, 2 millimeters of kind of mushy play. And then you have a nice clean let off and a quick reset. It feels good. Not quite as tactile as a Glock, but I enjoy the trigger quite a bit on the H9. Now, from there, we do have ambidextrous slide release on both the left and the right hand side. In addition to that, our magazine release can be reversed, and then on this magazine release, it feels good. It's in a good position. I don't have any complaints. Obviously, the grips can be changed out to make it a little bit larger. Overall, when I think of the Daniel H9, I think of a weapon that kind of falls into that Glock 19 role. It can serve as a full-size service handgun, or it can serve in a concealed carry role. And indeed, many of the holsters that they sent us do fall into that concealed carry category. It is a tad bit heavy for a concealed carry firearm. That being said, I would not feel outgunned or, at a disadvantage carrying this particular handgun. Now, let's go ahead. Let's break this down and let's see what our wear patterns are looking like. So, get in here nice and close, and we'll take a look at that. This gun is hot right now. So, we have really good, really nice wear on the barrel right there. To illustrate some parallels, we have our Glock 17 right here. This is my Gen 3. This guy has, oh, Lord, I don't even know at this point. But it's all factory internals, and you can see a lot of the parallels in terms of the barrel. So right here we have a Glock 17 barrel, and right here we have the Daniel H9 barrel. Both these barrels excellently made. This one obviously from the Glock, this one from the Daniel, which is Cold Hammer Forged. But you can see the Glock smile, what we affectionately call this wear pattern right here, is about the same as what you're seeing on the H9. This is very good. The Glock is known to last a long time because it has a very simple wearing procedure, and from there, it tends not to wear itself out at all. It is a very robust pistol. I'm seeing a lot of those same wear patterns. It is a very similar / the same operating mechanism as a Glock. And because of that, you're seeing very similar wear patterns, both the top of the chamber right here, the front of the barrel. If you look at the bottom, obviously a slightly different lockup between the two barrels, but we see very similar wear patterns, especially seeing as this has not been shot nearly as much. But this is all quite good. If we look on the bottom of the frames between these two, we see, again, a lot of parallels and kind of identical wear patterns, both on the portion closest to the chamber on the inside of the slide, as well as the point at which it makes contacts at the internal rails here on the Glock 17 and here on the Daniel H9. From there, you can see that we have the striker mechanism right here for the trigger. Honestly, if you took a look at a Gen 5, it'd be very similar to how the Daniel H9 looks. So this is all very good wear patterns. I'm not seeing any undue folding of the metal, anything that's concerning at all. This all looks really good to me. The rails are wearing in very nicely. We just have the gunk from shooting and unburned gunpowder and grease. But, man, this looks really good. Everything in me from this initial test that we've done of 3,000 rounds and during our evaluations points to the fact that the Daniel Defense H9 is a significantly improved product compared to the Hudson, and more so is very well built. I don't have any complaints about the Daniel H9, and I really thought I was. I thought this would be more of a gimmick and I wouldn't like the firearm at all. Instead, I find this to be a very compelling pistol in many ways. John, I know you had some thoughts on the Daniel H9 as well. You've shot it about equally to, we've both put about 1,500 rounds on it.
Yeah, it's to me, it's a Glock 19 that happens to have a metal frame and a really nice trigger out of the box. I didn't expect Daniel Defense's first handgun to actually be this good. It seems it's just very well thought out. It's not anything super crazy, but it's just good. so far, that's really all I can say is it's good.
I guess when, I kind of hoped it would be more sensational in terms of, our findings and everything. But instead, our findings are just that this is a solid first outing from Daniel Defense. And if you can get your hands on the H-Gun, I would definitely say so. My only caveat to that is that it is an expensive handgun. Being at around 1,300 MSRP, you might find it for less. But you compare that to your typical, Gen 5 or Gen 4 or whatever Glocks, you can get these for far less, 500 to 600, or police trade-ins for like 400. And you have, in my mind, perhaps a more robust, more proven track record with the Glock. That being said, if you do want to kind of get towards the edge of what current firearm technology is, not that this is anything crazy or wazoo, but it does do some very cool things, I think that the Daniel H9 is a very good choice. If you have the money for it, if you're already a fairly proficient shooter, I think this is where it's at. I wouldn't recommend this for a first handgun, not because it's not exceptional or excellent, but merely because I would typically recommend you buy a less expensive firearm and spend the extra money on ammunition. John, thoughts?
All that being said, it looks good.
John's like, I feel like I'm in Blade Runner right now.
It's kind of like retro futuristic looking. It makes me kind of think maybe a Fallout handgun, something like that.
Fallout. That's what Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, Fallout 2.
I'd say 4 more than anything.
No one played 4.
4 is terrible, but still, it looks
4
good.
was terrible. 4 was really bad.
Yeah, but it looks good.
It looks really good. Point is, guys, if you have this handgun, if you're buying this handgun, I would not feel at all outgunned. Excellent accuracy. We shot this out to 200 yards, no problem. Most handguns will do that, but it's always a good sign. Get it, be happy with it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We got so much more coming for you guys. Don't forget about the Patreon. Sawyer actually runs it, and I answer the questions, and it's just unhinged. Is that the word?
Yeah, you guys are crazy. I can't keep up.
But check it out. And the final thing for you guys is going to be dad advice. My dad advice for today is everybody's going to be looking to take your time. Remember that time is your most valuable resource, because you know what? You never get any of it back. So make sure you spend that resource wisely.